the heart and soul behind every business. Stories. Welcome to Business Story of the Week, hosted by me, Joshua Laurie. From setbacks to comebacks, from tragedies to triumphs, we inspire entrepreneurs through conversations that matter. Witness the magic that turns dreams into reality. Whether it's your career, business, or life, your success is always one story away. This is Business Story of the Week. And welcome back, folks. Welcome back to Business Story of the Week. I am your host, Joshua. And today we are talking about storytelling through imagery. And you all know how much we love story here. It is literally the second name in the podcast show, right? Matt is a photographic artist dedicated to the transformative power of visual storytelling. With a passion for capturing narratives through photography, Matt offers audiences valuable insights into untold stories. He invites them into unfamiliar lives through authentically and aesthetically beautiful and meaningful images. His mission is anchored on the belief that art has the power to connect us, inspire profound thought, and foster a community of like minded individuals. And he has committed to the pursuit of creativity and cultural appreciation. And today, Matt joins us and shares this same passion. Matt, thank you for coming on the show. How are you doing?
Thanks very much for having me. Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks. Looking forward to the chat.
Fantastic. I'm quite excited. Matt, you are also the host of the Mood podcast. Am I correct? And
Yeah.
renowned for your culture as a cultural photographer, diving deep into the world of photography and visual arts. And Matt, before we really get into it though, have you always been into photography? I understand that your father is also, a photographer and you probably grew up around him as well. Talk to us about your childhood. What was it like growing up? What was it like, uh, falling in love into it? Or did you fall in love into it right away at all? What is the story of Matt Jacob?
Yeah, no, not at all. I didn't uh, really start photography until into my early 30s. So
Right.
not going to give away my age, but about 10 years ago. Uh, and it's when I was a young boy, I was obsessed with flying. I wanted to be a pilot. So I chased that dream for many years. Eventually, quite luckily and fortunately, I realized that dream kind of by my mid 20s. And so that was my career. But I always had this itch. I always had this kind of independent, rebellious itch. I wanted to do something by myself, for myself. I wanted to create. I always had, sort of drawing or I always had cameras around in the house and disposable cameras and old film cameras. And so, play with them like I would, just interest in gadgets. I was very much into toys and gadgets, and I'm talking like still like teenage years, going into early
Yeah.
20s. Like just love buttons and technology, fascinated by it, and that's kind of half the reason I wanted to go into flying as well. But I just enjoyed pressing buttons, and so there was always, it was always kind of like in the background, but it was never really something I gave a lot of attention to until I traveled.
Right.
My career as a pilot led me, again, very very privileged to be able to travel a lot and see places for free, essentially.
Mhm.
And that was where the kind of idea, or at least the concept of me wanting to document where I was going. And so photography seemed an easier or most kind of obvious way into that. And that was it. So I started picking up a camera. It was obviously really bad to begin with, for many years. Just doing it in my spare time, the odd kind of holiday here, the odd work trip here,
Right.
um, and yeah, I just taught myself over time and went on a couple of workshops. And as soon as I kind of learned the fundamentals of photography and storytelling, I was absolutely hooked. That was it. And and here we are today, I guess.
Right, and they did say that it takes what your first 10,000 shots are your worst, right? And I guess everyone goes through that. Any creative go through that. perhaps your first 10,000 hours, your first 10,000 paintings. It takes a while to kind of uh, get to that point where we're proud of our work. At the same time, it's also a love for it is what pushes us through. And it's very interesting that it took you a while to actually kind of like you didn't pick it up right away, but at the same time you started finding it. You started finding it through your travels and started finding it through, you know, because documentation is different. It's documenting like seeing it from your own perspective and sharing that. I was into a little bit of photography. Matt, I have tattoos of twin lenses
Nice.
right in there, and
A
it's kind
Rolleiflex.
of
Yeah.
yes, a Rolleiflex.
Yeah.
I have a tattoo of a
Sick.
Rolleiflex on there. So yeah, I understand the beauty and the authenticity and the joy of capturing a moment, and only telling that through your perspective. So I'm right there with you, Matt. However, this wasn't really quite a walk in the park, right? You were also, I understand, um, went through your own battles because going through your own cancer is also quite the story to tell. My question, Matt, is how did this affect your journey as a photographer, and how did this affect your visual storytelling? But before that, what was the cancer battle like? What was it exactly that you fought through?
Yeah, I kind of reluctant to talk about it, not because it's a sensitive subject at all. I joke about it all the time, as I think we should if we've
Mhm.
recovered and we're willing to give back and help,
Right.
more important causes. But looking back on it, it was kind of a non-event. So I'm a little bit embarrassed about kind of placing too much emphasis on it. Yeah, I had cancer, but I didn't have any significant post-operative treatment. It's testicular cancer, so had testicle removed, and after that, it was obviously a year of a lot of tests and the just generic treatment. But I didn't have to have any chemotherapy, radiotherapy, or it didn't metastasize. I was very fortunate
Mhm.
with it. But the biggest byproduct of that or effect of me going through that, and I was mid-20s, so it was a while ago. It definitely
Mhm.
did reframe my perspective on
Mhm.
life, and it sounds a bit of a cliche, but it really did. It does make you think, how fragile your life is, especially when you get at a young age. Like, whoa, I'm not meant to get anything like
Exactly.
this at this
Mhm.
age. Um, so it was just kind of one of those things that really just hit you in the head, and it's like, well, let's wake up here.
Mhm.
What am I actually going to work towards? That's going to have real sense of purpose and fulfillment. And again, those
Mhm.
words kind of get thrown around a lot, but it really did kind of encapsulate the way I
Mhm.
reframed life. And it was just, okay, now I just want to travel more. I want to see more. I want to experience
Right.
more. I went through a period of probably about 5 years of literally just saying yes to everything, apart from maybe drugs and
Mhm.
illegal activities. I
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
said yes to everything that came my way, every person I met, every opportunity, as long as I could afford it. It was just like, yep, yes, 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 yes,
Wow.
because I just wanted to, I didn't know if it was going to come back. I didn't
Of
know
course.
how long I had left. And, you
Mhm.
just, we often get so caught up in our little bubble, we forget to have that perspective. And that's what really taught me to have perspective and empathy into my storytelling. And that's kind of from that grew my urge to be a bit more creative, be a bit more
Mhm.
of a storyteller if I could. And essentially I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to create art, whether it was just for myself or for the pleasure of other people, great. But it was just that inner need and inner desire
Mhm.
to want to do something bigger than my job, which was
Wow.
working for someone else, flying a
Right.
plane. And it is fantastic. I have absolutely no problem with that. It's a wonderful job. It's kept me on an even keel for so long, and I'm extremely grateful for it. But I wanted a bit more, and that having going through that illness allowed me to kind of reshape my perspective on things. And I still take that through into my photography now, because I'm so curious about other ways of life and other
Right.
cultures and other people, essentially.
Yes, of course.
Um, and I don't know if I would be now if I hadn't have gone through that. So, I'm grateful for kind of going through that experience, not to mention making me just stronger generally, I think.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of, it still plays into to every day of my life for sure.
That is definitely a profound experience, man, and something to not be ashamed of for sure, because you took it and then you took the bad and turned it into good and something that is now has influenced you in your life. You said that you got it pretty early on in your 20s. And it's
Mm.
almost, fortunate and unfortunately that you got it a little too early, but at the same time, it's influenced and shaped the way you look at the world and the way you now capture the world through the lens of your photography. You mentioned in your website that you have dedicated your life to understanding different perspectives as well as understanding the why behind different forms of nature. And I don't think it's truly like you said, you wouldn't be who you are today without that kind of experience. And that truly is quite a profound story. Thank you for sharing us today. You One of your goals is to foster a community of creatives, right? And this is through your online presence, through your podcast, and through your art, basically. Can you share some of the most rewarding experiences that you've had while connecting with your audience and trying to um, bring out basically what has been one of the most rewarding experiences in your photography career, the feedback that you've gotten, and talk to us about that.
The feedback is great, but it's one of those one way things, and it's a little bit surface level, right? You
Right.
take Instagram for example, where a lot of
Mhm.
photographers kind of base their output. You might get likes and comments and DMs, which is all fantastic, and I'm extremely grateful for people who take the time to interact with me, and I'll always make an effort to interact with them as
Yes.
well. But
Yes.
it's still, a little bit superficial. Where I really get the most amount of fulfillment, and it gives me just goosebumps thinking and talking about it, is giving back. So I've really kind of this year leaning into the education side of photography, and by no means am I a master or an expert, or I'm still probably 8,000 hours away from being that 10,000 hour master, but I feel I have a lot I can offer, whether that's lessons that I've learned along the way so that I can hopefully prevent people from making the same mistakes, or
Hmm.
if it's just a few life lessons. I think once you get into your 40s, you kind of, you're a little bit more wise, obviously, and if you can kind of couple that with a technical skill, then I think
Right.
that's can provide a lot of value. So yeah, look, I love doing in person workshops or one to ones or mentoring. So when I get messages saying, "Look, I'd love to either work with you, or I'd love to, be part of one of your workshops," that's really fantastic. But when it goes to the next level and actually work with these people, and thankfully most of the time get kind of good results as far as I know, that provides me with real fulfillment because I'm giving back.
Exactly.
I'm not necessarily giving back to charity or someone in need, right? But I'm able to share and to provide value to another human being. And I think
Hmm.
that's hugely powerful because you're not just doing it for yourself, you are doing it for yourself, but you're also impacting someone else in a positive way. So I think that's really kind of the greatest part of photography. And if my images are able to inspire others, and I don't care whether I know about that or not,
Hmm.
then that's really a dream come true. If you're able to impact others in a positive way and
Hmm.
inspire and put a smile on someone's face,
Right.
or really connect with them emotionally, I think in today's society we always have to get something back, right? We need to get that validation, and we need to get liked, and we need to get
Hmm.
popular. And
Right.
I'm really keen to kind of always stay away from that. I understand that 99% of the population won't resonate with my art, and that's absolutely okay. That's normal. You find your
Hmm.
little audience and you give
Hmm.
everything to them. So things like little community channels, whether it's on Instagram or Discord or newsletters or something like that, or in-person community events, which I do sometimes here in the studio. I think that they're just so much fun, so powerful. Can really, really help people. That
For
loyal
sure.
audience who can actually connect with you directly and individually. I think that's where I
Mhm.
get the most pleasure, most satisfaction.
Absolutely, because it's also like returning, right? Returning the values and returning the lessons that you've learned throughout life, and of course, these things you also have learned with other people. So it's a way of paying it forward, so to speak, right? And
Absolutely.
again, like even if you don't know how it inspired these people, you know that you've given back to the world, you've given back to the community, and that truly is something profound to look up to, especially if it's something that really interests you and a passion of yours, and then all the more rewarding, is it not? And yeah, I think it's remarkable and admirable that you are putting out these educational content and talking about this with individuals, into workshops and groups of people. I'm intrigued with your upcoming ebook and this video course in portrait photography that you are doing. What motivated you to develop these resources, and what do you think are the key lessons and insights that aspiring artists and photographers can gain from them?
Money. I think as photographers, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Like you can't do this for a living without kind of trying to charge someone for your time, right? So it's like everything. It's give and take, and if people want to do this as a business, we talk about the whole premise around your podcast. If you want to be a photographer as a business, you have to create. Unfortunately, you have to be able to create digital assets, unless you're very successful in other ways, right? And I mean digital assets like online courses, presets, ebooks, NFTs, selling prints, all this kind of stuff that you the common the sorry I should say the modern photographer has to do. Otherwise, they're going to be burning out working on client jobs all the time, 24/7. So, the modern photographer, the intelligent photographer, I would imagine has that as part of their portfolio, has those kind of things part of the portfolio. So, I kind of shy away from that. I'm not keen on presets. I think you can learn a very limited amount from ebooks. I think you can learn enough, but still a limited amount from online courses. So really, all of this is essentially a funnel to get people to come and see me and to come and join my workshops, which will hopefully be ready to go next year. So this is all a bit of an experiment, but the online course is kind of the thing that I hope people can get the most out of that isn't with me in person, kind of
Of
kind
course,
of learning and teaching
of
that
course.
way.
And the best way to learn, of course, is also putting yourself out there, right? Like
Oh
actually
yeah,
taking those shots, clicking
yeah.
that button, clicking that clicker, and all that. Like that's the
I think
best
every
way to
module
learn.
in my online course, I end it with, "This is 1%." Watching this module is 1% of you learning. Right? Take this knowledge, and you have to go and it's practice, 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 and it's annoying, but it's true. You just got to put the hours in.
Yeah, but it's also more fun that way as well. Of course,
Yeah.
it's one thing to take it from a guru or a mentor like you are, but all the great mentors and teachers are going to tell you just go out there and take the shots, and then we come back here and then we go through them, and then let's figure out how to take them better. Matt, you have been around the world. You have a studio right now in Bali, and also you did a little bit of film. Am I correct?
Film as in film photography or film as in movies?
uh, film videography.
No, I don't do that myself.
Hmm.
Obviously, we have the podcast, which is all video, but I get a lot of BTS video from my projects, but no, I don't do any video, which is an interesting topic actually, because that's the way the digital world is going, or at least that's the way the market is going. A lot of the
Precisely.
brands
Hmm.
that you're working with out there
Hmm.
want video. They want their reels, they want short form video, they
Precisely.
want as well as photos, but the photos now come, in a distant second
Of
place.
course, of course.
So yeah, that is a whole new skill altogether. I see a lot of
Yes.
photographers just say, "Oh, I'm just going to go and do videos." Like, well, it is a whole different beast. And
For sure.
depending on what you're trying to say and what you're trying to tell, it can be
Hmm.
more difficult or it can
Hmm.
be more simple. But usually it's more difficult, more time. You've got to go back and learn a whole new set of skills. It's more three-dimensional. You've got moving images. You've got audio, which is like, it's
Something else
it's something
entirely.
else. So yeah, I don't have the brains for that. Like I'm still figuring out photography, and I love this still art form, and I
Of
don't
course.
mind like being the old decrepit guy in 20 years time, like still shouting from the houses. Photography is the best. So like we'll see where it goes, but I still I'm a still image
You
guy.
did kind of answer my question there because I was going to ask like where the market is going, how you feel you fit into all that because of everyone wanting videos and everything. But I love that. I love that answer and that let's all be, I'm there with you. I'll be with you, the old decrepit guys shouting in the mountains saying like photography is the fundamentals to video. You
Yeah,
have to learn you have to
yeah,
learn
yeah,
these fundamentals
yeah.
first, but it's quite a challenge and it's quite also a way to fit yourself in there, but you're doing great obviously with your own podcast and your video courses and giving back all this educational content. Matt, I want to ask and want to give you this opportunity. Where can we find these, first of all, your video courses? Where can we connect with you? Where are you most active in? And your upcoming ebook, of course. And where can we find more of those beautiful photos?
Well, the ebook is out. The ebook is free at the moment. So head to my website, uh, mattjacobphotography.com/learn. In there, you can sign up for my course, my workshop, and mentoring if you want. All of which are waitlisted at the moment. Um, the course should be out July.
All right.
I want to say June, but the edit is proving big.
Mhm.
So the course will be out July. Ebook is out now. I have free learning tutorials on there as well. So check out that. So yeah, my website is the main place to go for the educational stuff,
All right.
and then kind of podcast and my photography, obviously on my website as well. But my main platform is Instagram. Put time into that every day, connecting with people and trying to build that audience there, and essentially a bit of a portfolio that's symbiosis with the podcast and still images and BTS. There's a lot of BTS on my post, so that's cool
Yes.
for people to see. Yeah.
Matt, before we close this and take this home, favorite locations? Any favorite photos that stand out to you? Moments? Talk to us about that. You've been around the world. Give us the top three locations and why is it the Philippines?
Yeah, look, the Philippines is. I've had some experiences traveling through the Philippines. It's definitely one of the most beautiful countries in the world, without a doubt. Certain so many islands and so many just
Hmm.
idyllic. It's like the Maldives of Southeast Asia.
Yes.
When you think
Yes.
about
Love
Quran,
it.
Palawan is just like unbelievable.
Hmm.
I haven't
Hmm.
done any photography there other than holiday photography. So and
Really?
underwater. I've done a lot of diving there, so we've done some underwater photography stuff. But like, yeah, nothing in terms of my cultural projects. But so
Mhm.
I'd love to go. I might have to send a message to you and see if we can
For
sort
sure.
something
For
out.
sure.
There's plenty of tribes over there, and plenty of local people I want to kind of get
Absolutely.
into.
We could visit the oldest tattoo artist in the world right now and get a tattoo from
Is
her.
she the old lady that does it with the the,
Yeah, she
the
does it with
needle,
the
right?
stick, the needle,
Yeah, the stick. Yeah,
old school with the
yeah.
charcoal and everything. She's
I
about
need more
six.
space. I don't have any space.
Oh, you don't have any space,
I have
unfortunately.
to do it on my. Yeah, no, I'm
Oh,
joking.
good. Well, she does small stuff, but these again, a lot of places to visit here, but you have been in wonderful, great places around the world already, Matt, and
Yeah, I
you have.
think Indonesia is there's a reason I live here,
Mhm.
and it's partly photography, right? It's probably from my travels probably the most diverse country I've visited, let alone
Mhm.
lived in.
Mhm.
It's the width of the US. It's thousands and thousands of islands. It's got everything from beaches to mountains to forests to volcanoes to tribes to I don't know to an array of cuisines to 1,000 different languages. It's so much
Right.
history.
Mhm.
It's just I'm excited to be based here so I can spend the next 10 years kind of building a a project and building a body of work that's really gets into the depths and
That's
details of
beautiful.
Indonesia. So I have a few photos from here that I'm super proud of. But yeah, I mean, there's a difficult question to answer. I don't know where my favorite photo would be from. Everywhere has its own beauty. It really
For
does.
sure, for sure. But we do have those places where we fall in love in, and just want to be like, okay, this is it. This is my second home, and this is where I'm going to stay for a while. And
Yeah.
everyone has those different places in their hearts, and you obviously found that in Bali in your studio. You said you are under renovations. You are going to get that finished around hopefully very soon, and I'm
Yep.
excited to for the work that you are going to continue on there. Matt, where can we connect with you? Are you active on Instagram? Are you active on LinkedIn? Where can we find you?
Yeah, LinkedIn. I mean, maybe in the future when I start pumping up the newsletters a bit more. But Instagram, uh, yeah, I'm not, I mean, all of the platforms. Right, I
Sure.
have the same username across all the platforms. Matty J underscore AY.
All right.
Um, Probably easier just to put it in the description. But yeah, Instagram's like my main point of output, and then I disseminate according to that. And obviously YouTube with the podcast. So same username on YouTube. Head over there and check out my podcast. And yeah, hope to see people.
All right. That's it. To our audience and listeners out there, Matt, thank you for sharing all those insights and your journey and your stories. I am sure, or at least I hope, our audience and listeners out there appreciated it. And again, I'm enthusiast for photography as well, so I definitely enjoyed this. I hope our audience and listeners felt the same. Matt, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for sharing your stories.
Thanks a lot, Josh. Appreciate it.
To everyone else out there, see you on the next one.
All right, so here's the thing, we try to get a little bit better every day, but we can't do it without you. So if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe below. And if you have any comments, just leave them in the space under.